Ben will deadlift more than I did, for sure. Because
biggest hack, learn how to cook.
Why it's important to stay humble, going through everything I have been through, is knowing that we're only one injury away from it all being over.
So we got Ben Euliss today. He's been an ICB member a while back. I've actually known him long enough to remember when he had short hair. So that's how long I've known Ben. But we're gonna do a little bit of deadlifting today. He's coming off of last meet was the Ghost Clash, where he actually bombed out during deadlift.
You've got to lock that. No, that was grip.
No.
Just a few tweets. He signed up for the American Pro. So how far out are you, Ben?
24.
Yeah, 24 weeks out. So he's got a while to go to figure some things out. But no, we all know he's going to do really well. So first off, how old are you?
35.
And then you started bodybuilding pretty early because you were in the same bodybuilding shows as Lauren back in college.
Yeah. So I really stopped drinking and started really following like bodybuilding programming, training programming, and nutrition programming when I was 25.
So when I first met Ben, he came in to shoot a promo, and he came in as a fitness model. Yeah, so it was before the gym actually opened. These guys reached out, and that's how I met Ben. So back then, you were probably what, 230, 225?
Yeah,
and
decently in shape. Like,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't like 5%.
But you hung out and were like deadlifting, and all those other guys took off. Like, never saw any of the other models again.
Yeah.
And then you hung out a little bit, and then you came back and was like, I'm gonna jump into this powerlifting thing.
Yeah, it was, bodybuilding was just, to anyone that's done it, they understand. It's more of a time commitment than powerlifting. You train more because you don't train as heavy, so you don't need quite as much recovery between sessions. For me anyways, my style that I, train with, and it wasn't as much cardio. And then food is important equally as a lifter, but like I wasn't caloric restriction 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So that was a plus for me. So having a family and a career and trying to balance two.
Right.
And being better at powerlifting in the first 6 months than I was at bodybuilding after 7 years. It was kind of an obvious next step for me was to do a meet and take it serious. And
yeah, but to me, like, you look bigger now, like you have more muscle tissue now.
Yeah, I think
than you did when you were.
I've definitely continued to. My physique has matured. I've been able to fill out some areas that bodybuilding training hadn't yet.
So what's your body weight at now? I know you compete at 242.
Yeah, I consistently wake up like 260.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
260.
That's a pretty big weight cut.
And then either that fluctuates a little bit, like when we do conditioning and we get in a little bit better shape after a meet, 6 to 8 weeks after a meet, I'm more like 254. But when we prep for a meet, I try to leave room to push calories up going into a prep. So then we want weight to go up to 260, maybe a little bit higher. We're gonna try to push it higher because the last time I gained 5 pounds, I put 100 pounds on my total. So if we can do that again, that would put me in a really good place.
So did you compete at 242 or 275?
I was in 275, weighed in at 247.
Wow.
Yeah. So the bottom portion of 275, but I think 275 is a more sustainable place for me. Just less cutting, less water cutting.
So you don't think you'll do 242 ever?
Probably not. Not unless.
So do you plan on trying, like I remember I was kind of in the same boat, but I'm a little bit taller, so it didn't really make a lot of sense for me to cut. I was like, I have to put on as much size as I possibly can, which led me to get up to like 290, 300.
Right.
You think you would ever try to get up to like 280 and then?
I don't know. I start feeling uncomfortable at 265.
Oh, it's not fun. It's not. Nobody says it's comfortable, but the weights start moving a lot better.
That's true. That's true. You're bloated all day, but when you're, you know,
but
you're
again,
repping your last year's max, it's like
yeah, like being 3 inches taller,
right,
30 pounds heavier. Me
right.
being at 280 is the equivalent of you being 250.
Right. Yeah.
If you go by that rule, every inch is 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that is.
I feel like it's pretty close. I'm gonna go ahead and yank this one. Commercial gym, I would always take the 2.5 and kick it under here.
Just roll it.
Because we didn't even have a deadlift jack.
Yeah.
So you were either like rowing it to slap plates on,
yep,
or you were using something to wedge it off the ground. Still got stronger without a deadlift jack though.
Yeah, but then it sucked because you wasted all your energy putting the weight on. So I noticed that when you're setting up your dead, you kind of take the same amount of time and preparation. And is that trying to build consistency in the lift? Is it a routine that you're trying to build?
Both.
Yeah.
You just want every approach to be the same.
Yeah, like whether it was the 2 plates you first started with to that last one.
Yeah.
It was like if you timed it, it was like exactly the same.
Yep. You just want to control every variable that you can.
Yeah.
And if you want your pull to look the same, you want everything you do right before the pull to look the same, or else you're kind of...
Are there things that you're thinking about, or is it just kind of just at that point blocking everything out? And
always trying to, you know, improve. So there are, you know, cues that Miles will give me that I'm actively thinking about sometimes, until it becomes like muscle memory, and it's something I don't have to actively be thinking about during my pull. Recently, it's been head up. Having my head up the whole time definitely puts me in a more advantageous position to pull, to get slack out of the bar, to have my arms long, to get as far away from the bar as possible before the plates break the ground. But all of that doesn't really happen if my head's not up.
Right.
So that's what I'm actively thinking about the most, is like, okay, don't forget to pick your head up. Because generally, if I get my head up and I'm in the right position, the rest will happen.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's mostly what I'm thinking about right now, because
I know for me it was always like the same couple of cues. I would try to get my foot position right.
Yep.
So lining the bar up about mid-foot, and then as I was setting up on the bar, I would be getting same thing, long arm. But my issue was I have longer legs and a shorter torso. I would come forward over the bar.
Yeah.
So I was like constantly like pushing my knees into the bar, trying to get that upright position.
Right.
So that was like, from the day I learned it to the last day I pulled heavy was always
that
dude, it was
cue.
like a bad dream where like you can't get rid of those thoughts. It's just repetitive. So every time I walked to the bar, and it was funny, someone pointed out to me the other day, like I used to walk to the bar and I like snap my elbows, and he asked me about it, and I'm like, because I had bicep surgery.
Yeah.
So I'm like making sure that the tension was out, because sometimes I'd grab the bar and
it'll
pop. So it would always scare the shit out of me, and then I would drop the bar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, get rid of those pops before I got up. He's like, I just thought you were being badass, dude. I was like, no, there's
fucking, it's like
vibrates
hitting
your
a
whole
foul,
arm.
hitting a baseball, like off the handle there, off the tip, off the. Yeah.
Dude, these ones are worse. I say it's like taking an aluminum bat and you hit a fence with it.
Yeah.
Feels like you're like a little bit of adversity, right? Because it's been pretty easy.
Dude,
up
that's
until now.
exactly what I thought. Like, it was like 2 days after, 48 hours later, I was just like, you thought this was gonna be easy?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't just, no experience come in and go, 1900, 2K,
Yep.
21, 22.
Progression
That's not how it
is not
happens.
always linear, but I've always said this. I'm like, you know, every meet I did, I had a little bit of success.
Yeah.
But I also had enough failure to keep me motivated.
Keep you chasing.
Yeah, like I was always like this close to my goals. And then the next meet I would hit those goals, but I wanted more.
Right.
And then I would hit those goals, but I want, so like I never actually got to, and I don't think there was any number that would have made me happy, but it was like, that's what I loved about powerlifting, because even the meets, like, and there's meets I didn't do well in, like I tore my pec, but at least that meet I squatted 804, which was a big monkey on my back. So it's like, even though that you're not having progress across the board, like you still PR'd your squat, your bench looked great, and then the one lift that you weren't worried about ended up being the problem. So it's like, but now you'll go back, you'll fix those problems, and something else will come up. That's the fun of it. It never stops.
Keeps you coming back.
There you go. Speed look a lot different when they take that grip issue out of it. So I know you do a lot of the guys' nutrition here. Is there a premise that you're basing that off of? Like, is there a certain macro that you kind of would recommend to most powerlifters, or do you kind of just break that down per athlete?
It's definitely athlete dependent, but people start in a very similar place, right?
Yeah.
Just like if a powerlifting coach is getting new clients, you're gonna start them all off in a very similar place.
Right.
And then they migrate into their own organic path based on their needs, their strengths, their desires. And so nutrition is a lot the same. Different people handle carbohydrates differently. Different people have different lifestyles. So two people with the identical like body comp, metabolic rate, training programming could have two different levels of stress, two different like lifestyles at home, careers, and their plan is gonna look completely different.
And you base that on like weekly check-ins, feedback from them?
Weekly check-ins, all results, all result based. So I'm not gonna just guess. I'm gonna let the data that we've accumulated between our check-ins decide what direction do we go next.
And
that's why, and that's why doing what you say you did and checking in and giving me feedback are so important, because I have nothing to guide you if I don't know
I saw you
what's going on.
You posted about John, a newer, who's also a member here, but he's like one of the better check-ins you got, and you're like, makes my job so much easier.
And
so
you
how
can
many
tell.
people are hiring you and not giving you feedback?
You wouldn't believe the number of people that will sign up for something, just like people sign up for the gym and don't come.
That's true.
Just like people pay for cable and don't watch TV. Buy a magazine, throw it away. It's at one point they had the motivation and they thought this was the piece that they needed, and you have to really make a switch has to flip in your brain, and you have to be emotionally committed to doing it before it's actually going to happen. But and that's why I try to stay like build a relationship with clients, because if I can have some type of influence on them weekly to get them locked in or keep them locked in, then that's what I want to do. But if you don't have a personal connection or relationship with a client, it's harder to motivate them.
I always say that too, the clients that do the best are the ones that ask me the most questions. Because you get that rapport. And not only that, but you learn a lot about them as they're learning about it themselves. So they like,
100%.
If they understand how things work, then they'll understand the why we're doing it. So I try to educate my clients the best I can.
Knowing how to cook. If you can't cook, it's gonna be really hard to stay on diet. And if you can make your macros and your calorie goal for the day taste good, then it's obviously gonna be a lot easier to stay on program. If you know how to satisfy cravings with your own food prep and stay on track, then it's not really a diet, it's a lifestyle. So, you're not dieting, you're just eating in a way that supports the life you want to live. So like, I think that's how more people should look at it, as not a, I'm not in like jail, food jail, you know, you still get to eat what you want, but within reason. And if you can prepare food that tastes good, you're just gonna have a much easier time not cheating on your diet, or not going and getting food that you don't know what's in it or how your body's gonna react to it. So yeah, I would say that's it. Biggest hack, learn how to cook. And people will see meals online and they'll say, oh, see, I would eat that, that's healthy, I would eat that. Well, you can make it. Like, guarantee you the person who made that at one point didn't know how to make it, so they learned. So all you have to do is believe that you're able to learn how to cook something, get online, follow a recipe. The first time it might take an hour to make, the next time it'll take you 15 minutes. So yeah, just learn how to cook. Almost any lifter can hit any goal that they have by just following macros. Of course, if you have a bad relationship with food, there are probably foods that you should stay away from a little bit for a while, and you know, maybe build a little bit more self-control. But it's never forever when we say like you shouldn't eat something, or if it's something you like but it's not the healthiest option, we just have to limit the quantity, portion control. So yeah, I think that any lifter can get by with IFYM. But if you're a competitive bodybuilder and you're in prep, probably should stick to the scheduled foods. Yeah.